With us is Andrew Yang, as you all know and love, friend of the show, progressive. He was in the presidential race, and now he has an announcement that went out yesterday. The whole world is ready, Andrew. What is the announcement?
Thank you, Ethan. Thank you, Gila. I am running for mayor of the greatest city in the world, New York City. Let's go, New York.
Yeah. Mayor Andrew Yang. I love it. What a better man. I mean, you know, the most progressive city, one of the most progressive cities, one of the progressive men, forward thinking, slick, like New York itself.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you, guys. You
And
know
I'll-
what's really
we might
funny?
need to move to New York.
Yeah,
if
you make that city
happens.
good. We'll come back.
Yes! You have to move to New York. We will welcome you with open arms.
Do
and
we
a
get any
red carpet
subsidies? What can you do for us?
and a crazy broadcast studio.
Oh.
And then we will get you a whole slew of wannabe H3 Ethan and Gilas that you can take under your wing and build some kind of content empire. What do you think? That's
Sounds
what happens in New York City.
Interesting.
I just want those kickbacks now that I got a friend in government. Hopefully, I want those government.
Maybe I'll get you a contract to like pave a road.
Yeah,
Forget everything I just said
exactly.
about that.
Oh.
I'd be like, yo, here I have exactly. Just get me like a $10 million contract to pay for road. Isn't the government great? Andrew, happy birthday, by the way.
Yeah.
Also-
Thank you.
So, what is your platform for the great city of New York?
The first thing is we have to try and become the fastest comeback city from COVID. And you all have been indoors for a long time. New York City, though, it's very, very rough what's going on because if you have 60 million tourists not show up, that supported over 300,000 jobs, then those jobs disappear. Midtown Manhattan is 75% unoccupied in terms of commercial real estate. Subway ridership is down 2/3 or so. A number of families have left. So the biggest thing we have to do is accelerate the comeback from COVID by making New York City the place to be if you want to work or go to a show or get together at a restaurant or bar in a way that's safe as we get vaccinated. So one of my big plans, if we're still in the throes of this, which unfortunately I think we will be, is to have essentially a digital passport where it only has one piece of information, and that's that you've been vaccinated. So if you can imagine going someplace like a Broadway theater and then just saying, been vaccinated, then you can go take your mask off and you can be in a crowd of hundreds of people knowing that everyone there is perfectly safe.
Oh my
So
God.
New York City needs
I
to
can't
lead
even
in
imagine
those kinds
that.
of measures.
What is it?
Because without that kind of move, New York City is going to struggle to reopen at the same level.
So, what is a
Yeah.
digital passport? What does that mean? Is that something just on your phone? Is that something separate device? How does that implemented?
Oh, it's really basic because I'm a simple guy when it comes down to it. So I have not been vaccinated. But after you get vaccinated, the universal thing that happens is that you get noted as being vaccinated in a database, either at the state or federal level, and you get a vaccination card that says who you are and when you've been vaccinated. So the plan is to ask people to simply scan that card. We'll read it the same way we do a check. We can also confirm it against the database. And then after you get the confirmation, then you have something on your phone that says, Ethan was vaccinated in April and he's good to go for 10 months or a year or whatever it is. And so then when you show up to that Broadway theater, you can just say like, been vaccinated. And the only piece of information on the phone in this New York City app will be that you were vaccinated in April and then you're good to go.
Critics of that may call it like, well, the critics will call it Orwellian because they don't know what Orwellian means. But what would you respond? How would you respond to someone miscategorizing that as Orwellian?
Oh, I agree with the fact that requiring, though I think everyone should vaccinate, and I'm going to vaccinate as soon as anyone lets me. But I think requiring a vaccination is a very different thing than requiring it for attendance at a concert or a show
Yeah,
or a
I
theater.
agree.
You know, like there's no one forcing you to go to the show. So people have to make their own decisions. But if you're the mayor of New York City, you have to encourage people to be able to get together in groups or offices. And the best way to do that is to give people a peace of mind.
Well, if you guys can succeed there, you know, it can succeed everywhere. So it's really important that New York is able to flourish like the vision you have, because I feel like it sets the rest of the country up for success. What do you make of all these vaccinations are just sitting on the shelf? I mean, is something that you're going to get involved with? We have with the rollout of the vaccinations in America has been abysmal. We're only at a few percentage points here where like if you look at a country like Israel, which is already at like 30-40% vaccination. Why is it going so slow in America? And do you think that it should just be whoever wants it gets it?
Well, I'm not someone who wants to blame Trump for everything, but his administration has completely botched the vaccine rollout. And what they did is they said to each state, come up with your own plan. So then each state has adopted different rollouts. I would suggest that the big thing you should emphasize with your rollout is that doses don't get wasted. So if you try and be overly precise and say, look, we're just going to target this specific group, let's call it over 75 or people in a certain profession. The problem is then you wind up with some excess doses, in each container, or some of the doses go bad, or like storage, has problems. So the big principle we should have is that not a single dose gets wasted. And so even if you have particular groups that you're trying to target, you should say, look, like we're going to make sure nothing gets wasted. And so you can have essentially like a queue or a waiting list. The fact is, if someone had me on a waiting list where it was like, look, if like some vaccine dose frees up, like, you have this period of time, I'd be out of here. Like if I got that message right now, I would end this and just like, like run and get it done. We should not be wasting a drop. Because the faster we get vaccinated, the faster we can all get together again.
Is it true that circumcision is part of your platform?
It's completely not.
Are you forcing circumcision on all citizens of New York City? I think you probably understand the context. It's like someone who is concerned about my campaign is trying to, make people think that I'm for some extreme position. Whereas what I'm for, as you probably would imagine, is that parents should be able to decide whatever they want for their kids. Oh, isn't that already what it is?
What's interesting is that there are some environments where parents are pushed, and I know this because I've had kids, where people are pushed towards certain practices based upon healthcare professionals advising one thing or another, and I'm just saying leave it to the parents.
Oh, that seems reasonable. Another thing that came up, you were trending on Twitter recently, something about living in a 2-bedroom apartment. People are upset, pardon me, about you saying, imagine living in a 2-bedroom apartment with your family in New York City. Was that taken out of context? What was the context of that comment?
Oh, yeah. So they were asking about my, frankly, beaming into CNN when I was working with them. And then I made a comment about how the fact that I have 2 boys in school and that, it's tough to beam in for a national news appearance when you have 2 kids who are in school and you're in a 2-bedroom apartment in Manhattan. And then they took that quote and ran with it in a particular way, which, is like, I guess, a fun learning about.
You're in the dirty game now, Andrew. Wow.
Yeah, it was like, I certainly wouldn't have taken that quote out of context in that way and tried to make a thing out of it. But I think that some of the folks I'm running against, tried to take advantage of it and spin it a certain way.
That's crazy.
So this is your first kind of political run, right? This is your big, well, besides president, but like this one, you're. I think presidential, you were thinking like, I'm not going to win, but the mayor. I mean, let's be honest. You said that. You're like, look, this has exceeded my expectations already. But the mayor, Andrew Yang, mayor, we see it. So this is your first time being the on the receiving end of this kind of political attack ads, right?
I think that's accurate. And the fact is, when I was running for president, no one saw any upside to attacking Andrew Yang.
Right.
That wasn't really in the playbook. But this time, I think we're going to see more negativity. And I knew that coming in, honestly. I just want to help my city get back on its feet. I understand that there are certain people who've been planning their mayoral run for years or decades, and that they're going to be very displeased with my campaign. But I'm also confident that New Yorkers know we need something a bit different than we've been getting, that we're in the midst of a crisis and we're going to need a different kind of leader to point the way out. So I'm super pumped. And I do want to say to any of your watchers and listeners who live in New York City, there's something about New York City finance that's magical, where if you give $5 to my campaign, then the city will give us $40. They match it 8-1, if you can believe that.
Why?
Why is that?
Yeah.
So New York City, because you said it earlier, Ethan, it's a very progressive city. And one of the ways they want to be progressive is they want folks to be able to run for office and have small dollar donors be amplified.
Oh, wow.
So
really,
any New York City resident who donates to my campaign gets matched 8-1.
Damn.
Up to the first $250 they contribute. And most people aren't going to donate more than $250. I mean, you give $10-20. But if you give $10-20 at yangforny.com, the city will just come in magically later and then give
Amazing.
you 80 or 160.
Well, foot soldiers in New York City, you know what to do. Andrew, it's funny when Trump got elected, they were saying this is a different candidate. This is the person we need. I actually feel that's actually true about you. I feel
thank you.
that Andrew Yang is the future. He is the governor, not the governor, but the kind of governor, as a pronoun, you're not running for governor. You're the mayor.
We understood you, the kind of lowercase g, like
lowercase g
person
governor
in charge.
that we
you were
need.
thinking person
Exactly.
in charge. That's what you were thinking.
Oh, I want to ask you one last thing before you go. Lauren Boebert, QAnon congressman who tweeted out the location of Nancy Pelosi during the Capitol riot. What do we do with her?
What is going on with some of these new members of the Congress?
What is going on?
There should be some very, very serious repercussions to the Capitol Hill riots. I mean, that was like a nightmare come to life.
Yeah.
People died. A lot of folks have gotten confused about appropriate political communication and then incitement to violence and extremism. And if you have elected officials acting like that, it's even worse. It really poisons the well. So I hope that someone has her take those actions, much more seriously, and hopefully she has some consequences, because there are a number of folks. As another example, I just saw at least 2 or 3 members of Congress have come down with COVID as a result of being trapped in that room together.
So insane.
And some of the Republicans refuse to wear a mask.
How do we function as a society when we have Congress people refusing to wear masks in the Capitol? It's just beyond belief.
It's so frustrating.
And now the story is developing is that 3 members of Congress were helping the rioters give them information.
I saw that. There's some kind of like tours of the Capitol.
Yeah.
Like someone said that their panic button was removed. Just total batshit insanity.
Yeah.
That seems to have made this even darker than it was, and it was already like a national nightmare.
Well, I heard the FBI spokesman, they did a conference the other day, and he says everything that you guys are going to hear in the coming days and weeks is going to blow your mind. So there's some sinister shit coming up. But regardless of all that, I'll feel a lot better knowing that Andrew Yang is in charge of the crown jewel of the United States, New York City. We wish you all the best, and we're hoping that all the Fooper Troopers out in New York City are making a donation to, what was the website?
Yang4ny.com. You guys are going to have to come visit. Hopefully by that point we'll be traveling again, but I will host you at Gracie Mansion.
Yes.
You can have a special H3 from Gracie.
Yes, I would love to. I'll take you up on that big time. I would love to do that.
I would be really relieved knowing that someone like you has any power.
Yes.
You're the kind of people I want to see in power.
Yeah,
we're just so tired of seeing the same thing. People, I think I saw you tweet, like, I'm so tired of hearing what can't be done or what.
Why we couldn't do something.
Why we couldn't do something. Just so tired of hearing that.
I mean, you hit the nail on the head earlier, both of you, where Israel is going to vaccinate the entire population by, let's call it April. And in April, I have a feeling you'll still be indoors and all this.
This is America. Yeah. This is we mobilized for World War II. We are the sleeping giant. Why the fuck can't we get vaccinations out? We should be doing the model for the rest of the world. What happened to American exceptionalism? We're just dog shit. With all due respect.
And this is what we have to turn around. Like the fundamental challenge is getting our bureaucracies to function at a higher level. And I think I can help. Like I'm going to tackle the bureaucracies in New York City in a particular way, and see if we can actually solve our problems in a way that gives people confidence and does not leave us, like you just said, Hila, explaining why we couldn't do something.
Well, best of luck. New York for Yang, or what was it?
Yang4ny.com. Thank you
We'll
all
put a link
so
in the
much.
description, guys, if you want to donate. Well, you can click the link in the description. We got to get you an easier link. Maybe I'm just dyslexic, but
I think it's pretty easy.
Yang?
Yang for NY.
and Yang for the letter 4, the number 4, not
It's actually the word for.
See,
it's,
where
did you get the number for? I
Yang4ny.com.
never said that.
We got to get you AndrewYang.com. I mean, what's happening?
We also have AndrewYang.com.
And that's
that
redirect?
related?
Does that redirect?
I think it redirects.
So there you go,
I do own
AndrewYang.com. That's way better. All right. Regardless of how you find them, we wish you all the best, and thank you, and good luck, and God bless.
Thank you so much. Appreciate the heck out of you.
All right,
Thank
Andrew.
you.
Take care. Good luck. Appreciate you.